Today is the day that everything changes. Look at you. You're so young, vibrant, and full of energy. So much more life ahead of you, and yet already so wise. I wonder, did you know then what I know now? That when you made this choice, it would set us on a course for a truly rich and powerful life. You wanted an edge, a little extra flexibility, faster recovery from those spontaneous adventures, feeling good, clear mind, confidence, and abundant energy to embrace everything you set your sights on. Yes, including him. Your commitment to wellness gave me the hope I have today. Motherhood changes your world. Some days things may feel a little upside down. Oof. The juggle is so real. But mostly, you hold it all together with ease and grace, keeping up with the kids, crushing it at work. Every room you walk into feels more alive. And because of her, you have a new reason to recommit to yourself. Your healthy habits become the legacy you hand down. In all the years to come, you're still full of energy. You still have an edge. Yes, your body changes, but mostly in ways that you love. You still go on spontaneous adventures. You can still keep up with the kids. And you still embrace everything life has to offer. Because of this day and your commitment to everyday sense, to move with intention, to eat well, to laugh often, to stay centered, to teach by example, to reach for every advantage. Every day you made a commitment to me, your future self. So I just want to say thank you for the choice you make today to live your most powerful life.
Hello, everybody. Hi, welcome into our Zoom room. Let's hang out here for a couple of minutes. We'll just make sure we get everyone admitted in. We should have a really good sized group tonight. If you are comfortable, we'd love to have you turn your cameras on. Feels so much nicer to be able to connect with faces as we go through the content tonight. And I will go over to screen sharing in just a moment because we have a really robust slide deck to go through tonight of awesome information. I promise you're going to learn something new tonight. We're all getting in here and getting sorted. So this class is going to go an hour. Have something to take notes on. If you had registered directly through the class landing page for this class, you would have received our notes package. Quite a few registrations for class tonight. Nice to see some returning faces too. I know some of you have taken this class before. We have run it 2 times this year. Every time we run it, there's always some new info to present too. So I promise you, if you have already attended this class, you will still learn something tonight. All right, so if we have not met before, my name is Ange Peters. I'm the founder of WholeFit, which is my health and wellness brand that I started almost 15 years ago in the holistic health world. I was a holistic nutritionist and personal trainer, and I ran my own fitness studio for years. And then I was introduced to doTERRA in 2013 after I had used essential oils for a couple of years, several different brands. And now today, this is the biggest part of my work, and the most fulfilling element of my work is what we get to do in doTERRA, because I feel that This is a company I'm so grateful and proud to be partnered with for many reasons, but this is a company that is truly helping the world heal. And what you're going to learn tonight when we talk about metabolic health, this is a topic that I'm sure we've all heard before. A lot of the information I'm going to go through tonight, I'm sure you've been made aware of at some point. What's nice about this class tonight is we're going to pull it all together in a very solutions-focused way, because metabolic health can be so daunting because it does cover so many things. As we get started, and as you guys get to know each other, we will have a big group on tonight. Say hello in the chat. Let us know where you're streaming in from. And for those of you that already use doTERRA, let us know if you could only pick one product, what would it be? And maybe share why. Like, what is your just tippity top product? If I was to pick only one, and it can be an oil or it can be a product. If I was to pick one oil to this day, it would be peppermint. It was the one that I had my most aha moment with when I first started. If I was to also pick one other product, I'm going to say Yaropalm, this serum. I keep a bottle of this everywhere in my home. It's the perfect carrier oil, but also, since one of the topics we're talking about tonight is the effects of aging, right? And how that actually happens, why it happens. I'm 43 years old and I love finding very natural ways to take care of my skin. I love this product. I will often just put it on my top of my hand and massage it in the tops of my hands. I'll press it into my lips. I use it as carrier oil. It's phenomenal. All right, so I'm going to start diving into the content. I love the sharing, you guys. Keep it coming. I'm going to move my chat box down so I can see what you're saying as you say it. Love it, love it, love it. So this class tonight is an example of one of many offerings that we run for our Whole Fit doTERRA community. We have lots of things going on throughout the year. This has been one of our main focuses this year, was to help people really understand this topic of metabolic health and specifically how the MetaPWR Kit works. So this class that I'm teaching you tonight is timed to be before we run our 30-day metabolic health program called Meta30. And I'll talk about that at the end. But if you want, I'll be showing QR codes briefly throughout the class tonight. If you want to take a quick scan of the code, if this is something that interests you. For example, on the slide here, you see a QR code that will lead you out to our community calendar. So there you can find all of the things we do throughout the year. Our other very popular offering is our social sharing studio. So we love to teach our community how they can share their love of the products, the oils, maybe MetaPower, that becomes one of your key focuses. We teach you how to share that in a very authentic way and how to earn while you do. So that's a program you might want to check out. So I mentioned the class notes package. I know some of you are joining us tonight from a direct Zoom link that a friend might have shared with you. So if you do want to receive the notes package, you can either scan that QR or you can see the link there on the screen. And you got a nice little space to take notes next to each of the products and some other helpful resources. I will be doing giveaways at the end of class too. So I'm actually going to be giving away 3 MetaPower samplers. So this is great if you haven't yet tried these products and you win, you're going to receive enough for 3 to 5 days. And I'm going to include a small tube of the new Supermint toothpaste, which just arrived, has not even launched yet. It launches October the 1st. So I'm going to give away 3 of these at the end of class. Definitely take notes because these will be trivia-based giveaways, okay? Love all of the engagement in the chat. You guys keep it coming. Awesome. I see quite a few shout outs for Zen Just oil, On Guard oil. Yes, a lot of the blends are life-changing. Okay, let's dive in. So over 10 years ago, when doTERRA really started to gain footing in the wellness space, they started a revolution. If you could go back in time, I mean, essential oils today are much more understood and more mainstream than they were even 5 years ago. But if you can imagine 10 or 12 years ago, essential oils were really only known in very small niche communities. And when we first started teaching on oils, I taught my very first class over 10 years ago. People would show up and it was just mind-blowing to them what they could do with oils. And I would say it was very common at that point. We were attracting a lot of new mothers who were there to find solutions for their young growing families. A lot of moms showing up to learn how they could take care of their babies in a more natural way. Things like ear infections, for example. More people, I think I helped get started with oils for ear infections in their kids than anything else. It was just like, because they were happening constantly with that age group. Fast forward to what we're talking about tonight, I like to describe MetaPower as a system that is here for the moms who had the young babies 10 to 15 years ago. Now this is a system really for you. And my brief story with MetaPower, I was part of the pilot. Some of you might remember that I was sharing about that about a year and a half ago. I started using these products, and I don't mean to sound like I'm not exaggerating by saying this, but my whole life is different today because of how consistent I remained with this system starting a year and a half ago. And it's hard to put into words because I really have tapped into a level of health personally that I've never experienced before. I'm lifting heavier weight at the gym than I ever have in my life. My cardiovascular health is better than ever. I feel strong. I look younger than I did even 20 years ago. When I look at pictures of myself, I can see those changes on the outside. And this system I have a personal love affair with it. And I'm going to infuse so much into this class tonight because I really believe in what it can do for people. And there's been so many incredible testimonials that have come out from people who have used this consistently for at least a couple of months. So what we're going to be, the way that this works into what we like to call our lifestyle ladder, this really touches on that level 2 health. You know, we have our nutrition and digestion, which is the baseline of our health, right? Movement and metabolism comes in next. So what we're going to be addressing tonight is how you can use smart supplementation to, even if you don't feel like your diet and your exercise are really dialed in, it can still go a long way to support you. When you add in those elements of consistent exercise and proper macronutrient ratios in your diet and clean whole foods with ingredients you can pronounce, now you have a very stacked effect. And so we'll talk a little bit about how that happens. So metabolic health, if it's something you haven't really dove into before, it affects so many different things in your body. And when it is not optimal, or when your body is not able to flex, let's say you go out for a meal and it's a very high carbohydrate meal and you have a big piece of cake, a metabolic system that is on the more optimal end will be able to handle that and deal with it as kind of a in the moment thing, because it's not a regular thing. If you are constantly exposing your system to things that it's having to deal with over time, it can have detrimental effects. And we're going to talk about insulin specifically tonight and how that happens and really what that leads to. But once our metabolic health is not optimal, we start to see the effect of that in a lot of different areas. And the good news is, as you do start to focus on it, it can have such an umbrella effect on so many things. I mean, you can see, these aren't all of them, but you can see how many of these things are indicators of where our metabolic health is at. So let's lead out with some stats. These are very current. A lot of these numbers are based out of research, a large macro study done last summer by the Journal of American College of Cardiology. They found that only 6 to 7% of people are metabolically healthy. And that stat can feel pretty shocking. It can feel discouraging, right? There's a lot of things going on in North America right now. In the average North American body, 74% of Americans are now clinically overweight or obese. 52% of American adults have prediabetes or type 2 diabetes. But here's the shocking thing: 90% of them don't even know they have it. And I don't know how many of you have ever invested in a glucose monitor. Just out of curiosity, sometimes if you have used one, it might have been because it was highly recommended to you. Maybe diabetes runs in your family, or you had a feeling you might have it. It can be very eye-opening. I'll share some of my own insight throughout the class tonight, but I actually have one on right now. I'm doing another run with it, and I've worn a CGM for a total of 120 days this year at different points, mostly for my own research. And I've learned some really interesting things through it. But one of the things that was quite shocking to me was that my fasted blood glucose, when I first started a year and a half ago, was in the pre-diabetic range. And this was surprising to me because I am somebody who I'm very active. You would definitely, if you spent time with me, you would say I'm a healthy person, a very healthy person, perhaps. But my levels, and I attribute this to years and years working for Starbucks, where I would have a coffee and a little muffin or something almost every day. Coffee in my family is very social. The coffee pot has always been going. I love coffee, but I grew up feeling like you never just have a coffee, you always have it with something kind of sweet, right? So I would have that one thing a day, and I did for most of my life. And when I realized that my levels were not optimal, this, in combination with MetaPower launching, gave me a real incentive to want to see if I could influence that. And in case I forget to share this, after about 6 months of very consistent use of MetaPower, I dropped my levels by 15%. So I am now in a very healthy range, whereas before my blood sugar was in that pre-diabetic stage. So it's very empowering to just understand what is going on beneath the surface, because sometimes we don't see it. And what you're going to learn tonight is that this is actually the root cause of so many chronic diseases is blood sugar dysregulation. I actually have this on the slide here. 80% of the top 10 leading causes of death are tied to high blood sugar. Like, who knew, right? It really is this silent thing going on, because unless you're measuring it, you just don't always know. And I know a lot of you have stories similar to that. Some of you that started with MetaPower took some time to do some regular testing of your blood glucose, and maybe that's the same for you. 5 indicators of poor metabolic health. So high or irregular blood pressure, blood sugar spiking and dipping, which we're going to spend more time on tonight, blood cholesterol, belly fat or obesity, and then cardiovascular diseases. These are all indicators of poor metabolic health. And it has been found that 93% of North Americans have at least one of these 5 biomarkers. So of all of those, what we're focusing on tonight is blood sugar spiking and dipping. Because when our blood sugar is erratic, when we're constantly going like this, and when we eat a meal, for example, a high carbohydrate meal, our blood sugar spikes. It is absolutely going to do that, because what's happened is you've just fed your body a lot of sugar in the form of carbohydrates or perhaps sugar, and your body purges that out into the blood because it's like, all right, let's go, we're ready to run a marathon. But that's not what we're actually doing usually. We're usually having that big meal, and then we get that big surge in the bloodstream, and then we go and sit on the couch or relax because we just feel like, oh, I'm so full and I just want to chill. That's actually one of the worst things you could do. And I want to make sure I mention this a few times tonight. If you were to do nothing else, so maybe you're not going to supplement, you're not going to even watch what you're eating. If you take one thing from tonight, one of the very best things you could do after you eat a meal, specifically a high carbohydrate meal, is go for a 10 to 15 minute walk after dinner or after your biggest meal, if that's lunch. You'd be shocked at what a big difference that can make in your blood sugar. If I was going to go out for a walk right now, I would literally see my blood sugar drop through that walk. Interestingly, what I've learned is running or very high cortisol cardio spikes blood sugar. And that was surprising to me. As a runner, I love to run. And I would wear this and I'd go out and it looked like I just had a huge meal when I would be out for a run. But walking is very nourishing to your body. Strength training is also very nourishing. Strength training pushes blood sugars out of the blood, or glucose out of the blood. So sometimes the way that we move our body can make a big difference. But when our blood sugar is erratic, we're going to have poor energy. This is why we'll often feel like going and taking a nap after a big meal. Our focus won't be as great. We'll see weight gain. We'll have hormonal issues, chronic conditions such as Alzheimer's and heart disease. I've actually read research that they're linking Alzheimer's. They're actually calling it now type 3 diabetes because there's such a strong correlation. So what is insulin resistance? So when our glucose levels rise, our body produces a hormone called insulin. And this is what helps to shuttle glucose out of the blood and into the cells. So in a metabolically healthy body, the right amount of insulin is being released to match the amount of glucose in the blood, which then moves it out of the blood and into the cells. So producing insulin is good, it's normal. But when our glucose spikes over time, are just going up and down, big rises and big dips, it causes the body to create more insulin production. And this eventually leads our cells to become less responsive, that they're not receiving the sugar out of the blood. And this is known as insulin resistance. This cycle eventually leads to chronically high blood sugar, which again is the root pathway of 80% of chronic disease. That just is mind-blowing, I think. And you see on the screen here, in an ideal situation, your fasted blood glucose, so when you get up in the morning, you haven't eaten anything yet, is going to be below 85, somewhere 70 to 85. Pre-diabetes, like I said, I was in this range, 100 to 125. The pre-diabetes range is an important one to look at because it is reversible. You can absolutely influence this. Like I shared my own example, it is absolutely within your control to make sure that this doesn't go into diabetes. So a second piece I want to talk about with when it comes to metabolic health is aging. So there's a lot of research happening right now around why we age, how we age, why some people don't seem to age, and why some people do at very fast rates. And ultimately, when you dig through the research, and I've listened to a lot of interviews with people like Dr. David Sinclair, he's one of the leading researchers on this topic. Ultimately, this comes back to our blood sugar and our metabolic health. And so you can literally at times see the aging happening externally because of what's going on inside. And aging they have found is 70% influenced by lifestyle, which again is another thing that we're not often told. We think, oh, we all get old. And we're all supposed to look a certain way by a certain age, or maybe we think, well, my mother had this or my father had this, so I'm obviously going to have that too. That is actually not the truth. There is so much that is in our control, and we essentially are as old as we look and feel. And you will see that on the outside when someone is doing things internally to help support their metabolic health, you will be able to see that on the outside. But in a very simple way to understand aging, every time our glucose spikes, we age. So really what we're looking to do when we talk about reversing the clock or having our biological age change, what we're talking about is how can we better control our blood sugar and reduce the amount of spikes that are happening. So a couple of things happen in combination with lifestyle, and these are just the way it is. Our levels in our body drop. There are a few things that do drop beyond the age of 25 or 30. A couple of things keywords I want you to keep in mind, because it might be the first time you hear these. So the first one is NAD. NAD is really a miracle molecule in our body. If we didn't have any more NAD in our body, we would die. Our cells use it to produce energy, and it activates proteins that create healthy DNA. So our bodies are always recycling. How many of you have heard of the word autophagy? AUTOPHAGY. Autophagy is literally your body's way of cleaning up cells that have gone rogue or diseased cells. Your body has a clean out system. It's always employing. And when it doesn't have the right elements in place, it can't do this properly. So when we think about something like cancer, right? Cancer is, and I do believe with the statement that we have all had it at some point in our body. When cells congregate and have gone rogue and they're not cleaned up properly by the body, this over time can lead to something like tumors, right? Someone mentioned fasting in the comments. Absolutely. So fasting is the body's natural way of boosting up autophagy and the cleaning out of cells. NAD, what we're talking about here, one of the things we're talking about here tonight is an ingredient in MetaPower. When I get there, I'll let you know which product has it. But NAD is a key element for a healthy metabolic system and for creating those healthy cells. So by the time we're 50 years old, our body is producing half the amount of NAD that we had when we were in our 20s. The other one I'm going to mention in a few minutes is collagen. I'm sure a lot of you have heard of collagen. I'm sure a lot of you use some form of collagen. Collagen also rapidly depletes beyond age 25 or 30. It starts to half-life every 10 years. So it's something that we do want to supplement. So smart supplementation, which we're talking about tonight, impacts both our blood sugar regulation and how we age. So when we think about that blood sugar, this would be a slide I'd like you to take a picture of. There's some important info here because these are the 5 main ways you can impact your blood sugar. One of them will be supplementation, which we're going to go into. But number 1, eating foods that keep your blood sugar stable. So being protein focused. I mentioned fasting a few moments ago. So fasting is happening all night while you sleep, first of all, right? So generally, most of us are fasting at least 8 hours every day. If you were to extend that fasting window by an hour or 2 in the morning and not rush into eating breakfast, your body goes into further cleanup mode, further autophagy. If you are eating a breakfast first thing, you want to make it protein centric. So having at least, thank you, Kira. Having at least 20 grams of protein in each meal, specifically breakfast, is very important for your blood sugar. The second thing is food intake timing and order. So I just mentioned fasting, or at least condensing your eating window into a period of time where maybe you're eating all of your food between the hours of 10 and 7, let's say, instead of snacking all day long, but really condensing it into a window. Also in this is the order of how we consume. So your blood sugar will not spike as much if you eat protein and fat first and don't go right for the carbohydrates. So that's interesting. Exercising regularly. I mentioned the importance of walking after your biggest meal. This is a really great habit to bring in, and also prioritizing strength training. Both of those things help to shuttle glucose out of the blood. So those are very nourishing things. There's a lot of reasons we might want to go for walks or strength train more, but this is one of the biggest. It actually moves those sugars out of the blood. Prioritizing healthy sleep and stress levels. So something I've also witnessed in myself in wearing a CGM is that when I am feeling stressed, for example, the last 2 weeks I had a lot of travel. I've been working a lot, teaching a lot. I'm headed on another 2-week travel on Wednesday. So I've got a lot on my mind. My blood sugar has been higher. One other thing, women, I want to share with you that I've learned is in the week before your period, your blood sugar will be elevated. This is why. So this is very interesting. We often think of PMS as these symptoms of, I find my symptoms are anything that's broken, I need to fix, right? So it's like that messy drawer in the kitchen. I need to get in there and solve it. If there's anything that just isn't going well in our house or in relationships. I need to solve it. Well, I wonder if this is because obviously hormones are shifting. So our progesterone and our estrogen increases, but that causes our blood sugar to stick around in our blood, it causes sugar to stick around in our blood longer. So our blood sugar is higher, which when you realize, like there are times where I'll feel like a little bit like, oh, I feel like I'm getting a bit of a headache, or I just feel a little snappy. And sure enough, oh, look, my blood sugar is high. So it's just very interesting how all of this is so connected. What we're going to talk about now is smart supplementation. So using bioavailable and natural supplements that help to bring all of this in line. So we're going to talk about the MetaPWR Kit and how it addresses 3 metabolic obstacles: our maturing fat cells, our blood sugar spikes, obviously, and our cellular integrity. So these are the products we're going through tonight. Put a 1 in the chat if you have used any of these products. I just want to gauge how many of you have experience. And it can be 1 or all of them. Okay, so we've got quite a few of you that have had some experience with these. So this is a good class for you to be in. So we've got the oil blend. So we're going to go through each product as we talk about what it actually addresses. And how I want to tackle this is by focusing on those 3 metabolic health obstacles. So I first want to look at maturing fat cells. What is it in this line that's actually targeting that? Because when we release mature fat cells, so our body gets very comfortable. One of the key pillars of reversing the clock, or quote unquote anti-aging, if you will, is to keep the body guessing. When your body gets comfortable and it's just in an environment when it doesn't have to work too hard, that's when aging sets in. The more you keep your body guessing, and this is why I feel strength training is so important, because it's constantly challenging the body. It's tearing it down a little bit and causing it to regrow. So this is a way to keep yourself looking and feeling young. So we're first going to talk about those maturing fat cells. So when you lose weight, you don't actually reduce the number of fat cells in your body. You always keep those. You simply burn the stored fat that's within those cells that's causing them to become smaller. So restricting fat cell growth makes the biggest difference to your body fat percentage. And fat cells basically grow when they retain droplets of fatty acids, usually from the overconsumption of food, but also when the body is in a state of fight or flight. If the body feels, so if your cortisol is pumping too much and your body feels the stress of your lifestyle, it's going to hold on to fat because it thinks you're in trouble. It thinks you're going to need it. So it's storing it away for you. Your body is so intelligently designed, even in the way that it stores fat and why it stores fat. It will often take any toxins that you may have ingested or breathed in, and it takes those and it stores it in your body fat to protect you. So when we are looking to release weight, let's say, what we're actually doing is we're tapping on the doors of these fat cells and saying, all right, time to go, time to shrink. But there are things that can get released through that as well, right? So if your body is storing up toxins, that can get released into the blood system. And so this is why it is also important to be using doTERRA. When we talk about smart supplementation, it's going to help cleanse what's happening through the release of these cells. So how does MetaPWR blend, which is the key blend in all of the products in this line, how does it impact fat cells? You can see on the screen here an image of using a microscope where red dye was added to fatty acids within the fat cells. When the MetaPWR blend was applied, you can see how it inhibited that fat cell maturation. So it's causing the fat cells to relax, if you will, and release. And when you combine this with good eating patterns, you create a stacked effect. So the MetaPWR blend, how I want to lead out with this particular product is it's going to work a couple of ways. It's working on your existing fat storage, but it's also going to help you make better decisions in the moment. Because this, especially if you struggle with cravings, this is a great oil to turn to just to add a couple drops to your water, or you can use a beadlet, and it's going to help you get just past that moment of vulnerability where you might make a decision that you won't be super thrilled with an hour later, right? We've all been there. So what's in this blend? So we've got lemon, ginger, cinnamon, grapefruit, and peppermint. These all together, it's a very mild, refreshing flavor profile. So like I said, I use it in my water every day. We're going to go through the 3 different forms that it comes in, specifically just to help drive the oil in and what it's doing. So this blend is featured in not only the 15 ml essential oil, which you'll probably use to add to your water, but it's also in little beadlets. And these beadlets have approximately a 1/4 drop of oil in them. You can just pop them anytime you want to escape that craving loop that you might be in. It also comes in soft gels, which is basically just the oil in a little soft gel that you can take, and that has approximately 2 drops of the oil in it. So the reason you'd want to find various ways of incorporating this into your day is it's going to, again, help with that inhibition of fat cell maturation and help to maintain fat cells at their smallest size. So once your body starts to release weight, it's helping to strengthen those fat cells so they don't become so open, like so they're not grabbing so much as you're going throughout your day. It definitely helps with curbing cravings, and it's going to support that overall metabolic health. The one other product that it's in is the gum, and I love this gum. I actually have a little jar of it at my desk. I pop one of these once or twice a day. I'll do it. You guys are craving this now. I know the feeling. I'll pop one of these in between lunch and dinner just to help clean my teeth. And then I also love to chew it when I go to the gym. It's really refreshing. It has that perfect amount of flavor. And, as you guys can see, these are just completely pure natural flavor compounds that are in this blend. No ingredients you can't pronounce. It's just exactly what comes from nature. So this is where we start with the system. And then now we're going to go into some key supplementation that helps with blood sugar spikes. Oh, I actually want to give you a little tip too. So the MetaPWR blend, you'll keep one in your kitchen, right, for adding to your water. And I recommend you add 2 drops to every 20-ounce glass of water. And you could do that a couple of times a day throughout the day. But I also suggest if you have an empty essential oil bottle in your home, I hang on to all of my empties for reasons like this. I suggest when you get your MetaPWR blend that you take half of it and portion it out between the 2 bottles and keep one in your bathroom. Because let's go back to what's in this blend for a second. Lemon, ginger, cinnamon, grapefruit, and peppermint. So I want you to imagine how this might feel on the body, okay? This makes a brilliant skin oil. I also love to use it with a dry skin brush. It's going to help exfoliate more. And that nice cinnamon peppermint gives a nice warming tingle to the body. It feels so good after you get out of the shower. You could add a couple drops to the hand and body lotion and just massage that in. It feels absolutely incredible. Okay, let's talk about that second metabolic health obstacle. So our blood sugar spiking, which we've mentioned a few times. So think about a car engine. Every time we slam on the brakes after we have been going pretty fast, we're going to wear down our car, right? All mechanics know this. The same thing happens in our body when our blood sugar is spiking. And again, remember, every time our blood sugar spikes, we age. So it's tearing down the body. Most people, like I already mentioned, will experience a blood glucose spike after a large meal. They'll also experience big dips in their glucose if they wait too long in between meals. So I have a very fast metabolism. I need to have a lot of fats in my diet to hold me through, or I would feel like eating every hour. So, you know, when you know your body, and you can probably tell when your blood sugar is getting a little bit low. This is why we often reach for things like coffee and sweets in the afternoon. But the more that you can smooth out these spikes and dips, over time, your cravings also change. So it's so worth it to take a month to focus on this and give it a very consistent effort, because you'll completely change the trajectory of how you feel and what you're reaching for after you give it a good, consistent use. And this is why for our community, we run this 30-day integration program of these products to give yourself a real consistent go at this, because once you do, everything changes from there. So where are we at with sugar? Like, I wonder if you guys were to really think about your day, I wonder how your day looks in comparison to this, because the average person today consumes 100 pounds of sugar per year. That's missing there, versus 6 pounds a year in the 1800s. And a lot of this is obviously due to access, right? We have so much food at our fingertips all the time. We're constantly marketed to, constantly bombarded. But because of this, we're eating 25 times more refined sugar than we did 100 years ago. So our system has constantly been catching up to this. And this, no doubt, plays a huge role in the levels of chronic disease that we're facing today. And obviously in the amount of excess weight that we carry, it just completely overloads our machinery. So the solutions we're going to go into next around balancing your blood sugar are a really big step forward for all of us, because all of us could put a dent in this in our own life. We all have work we can do in this area. So the next supplement, and this one just launched in Canada, by the way, Canadians. Canada doesn't have the full MetaPWR Kit, but I wanted to make sure I mentioned that. It just launched this week. Really big deal. So metabolic assist, this is our glucose stabilizer. And guys, this is a really big deal supplement. So I'm sure a lot of you here have heard of metformin. It's the classic diabetes drug. There are natural ingredients you can use instead of pharmaceuticals that do very similar things in the body. And that's what you're going to learn about with this supplement. Okay. So this supplement helps to decrease the harmful effects of post-meal glucose spikes. So it is designed to be taken 15 to 30 minutes before your largest meal. And what it's going to actually do is turn what would typically be a fast burning carbohydrate. So simple sugars, most carbohydrates you'll consume, unless they have a lot of fiber, are going to be fast carbs. This helps to slow that process down. And what you'll actually notice, especially if you're someone who struggles with portion control, maybe, there's certain meals you sit down to and you just cannot control yourself. It's your favorite meal and you're working on it, but it's a struggle. This is going to help you there, because as it slows that process down, it helps you feel fuller in the moment so that you're actually eating what your body is needing and not over consuming. It's also going to help with less energy crashes. So much more stabilized energy throughout the day. And this is a really surprising benefit of this. And this, you don't need to take this at lunch, for example, to feel that. Taking it at dinner affects your next day. It actually helps you feel more stabilized. So there's 2 ingredients in this that specifically target this. The first is mulberry. And guys, if you're a research person, you could hop on PubMed and search both of these things. You'll be surprised at how much information comes up on these. Mulberry is shown to reduce post-meal blood sugar spikes by 42% when it's taken before your meal. So it slows down what you're eating to help it metabolize more efficiently. The second ingredient in this is berberine. And berberine is known as the natural form of metformin, which is that diabetes drug I mentioned. So it helps to make the body more sensitive to insulin, and it lowers blood glucose. It increases mitochondrial energy. And in addition to controlling blood sugars, it helps to also lower cholesterol. So how I like to teach on this is you take it before your largest meal. So for some of you, that largest meal might be breakfast. It might be lunch. It might be opposite of dinner, right? So you want to, and when I say largest meal, specifically, I mean largest carbohydrate meal. If you're following more of a ketogenic diet, for example, it would be good for you to invest in some time with a blood sugar monitor just to see what's happening. You might not be having as many spikes because typically a higher protein, higher fat diet is not going to see that. But research is showing that following a diet like that for too long can actually increase cortisol in the body, which can also cause the spiking and the dipping, right? So it'd be good to check in on that. But I think for most of us here, you'll have a meal that will have some carbohydrates in it. So this is where you can really help to mitigate that spiking. So I also want to suggest that you keep some of these capsules in your purse. So you could put them in a little Ziploc, or you might get a second bottle of the assist capsules to keep out for those times when you're on the go. And really, especially if you find in the afternoons, maybe on your commute home from work, you're often stopping and getting a latte or something that might have a little bit more sugar than you're really wanting to ingest, but you just love the taste of it. This can help mitigate the spiking. So I mentioned that you should take this 15 to 30 minutes before your largest meal. However, you can still take it if you forget. So I think this is the one challenge for a lot of people, even if you're used to supplementing, you are probably typically taking your supplements with your meal, right? You might have them at the dinner table or wherever you're eating. So remembering to take this capsule before the meal can be a little challenging. So you might, and really it takes a couple of weeks. When you're integrating something new, you need to stack it in your favor. So keep that capsule bottle right on the kitchen island where you're preparing dinner, for example, just to remind you to take it. Once you've implemented the habit, it will stick. So it just takes a couple of weeks. But the thing I wanted to mention here is even if you forget to take it, it can still help to blunt a glucose spike, even if it's taken right in the middle or right at the end of a large meal. So all is not lost. Yes, Courtney, you can take more than one a day. And again, you'll get to know how you're feeling with it. So if you're eating 2 really large meals a day, then this can just help to even that out a little bit for you. And what you'll probably find is if you do eat 2 larger meals a day or 3 larger meals a day, if you take this during your first large meal, you might not actually feel like you need it for the second one. Because again, it's going to help if you're mitigating the spiking and dipping. You're not going to be in this really low state of blood sugar after, which tends to cause people to crave more and more food. So it just helps us to feel a lot more even and balanced. So I always like to mention this in this class because sugar intake is something a lot of people struggle with. This was when I realized I had a pre-diabetic range number, I was ready to kick sugar for good, refined sugar. I'm still a huge fan of nature's sugar in the form of fruit and produce. But I really wanted to kick sugar. And so this is what I did. And I have not had refined sugar in 1.5 years. I do not even think about it or miss it. And I used to have, like I said, something every afternoon. I used to crave something sweet after dinner every night. Does anyone else have that struggle where you'll eat a big meal, you're not hungry, right? But then you're just craving something sweet? The reason that's happening is because your blood sugar has just tanked, or it has just spiked. And so it feels erratic. And so it's thinking you need more. And if you wait about 1.5 hours and you're really hungry still, what's likely happened there is your blood sugar just tanked. So now it's needing you to give it that big hit. And so here's what I wanted to share I did. So first of all, I never am without a water bottle. So I would have my water with me wherever I went. And I would put a couple of drops of the MetaPower oil in there. I even kept a little vial of it in my purse. And so that helped me throughout the day with cravings. When I would get a craving, I would first drink water and to see if I was still hungry, because sometimes we're just really dehydrated. If I was still craving something, then I would chew a piece of the gum, or I would pop a few of the beadlets. And usually that would help to cut it. But if I was still hungry, like 20 minutes later, then I was like, well, maybe I'm actually hungry. So then I would consume something that had fat and protein. So I trained my body, and it took about 2 weeks. I trained my body to let go of this craving for sugar, and I instead fed it something it actually could use, it actually wanted. So I would love taking like those fat bombs, like a chocolate peanut butter cup. It's just pure dark chocolate and peanut butter or almond butter. And it wouldn't have any sugar added. It was like the completely straight chocolate, or you can get ones that have monk fruit in it or erythritol. What you're trying to do is help your body break the craving cycle with refined sugar. So some of those can be helpful in that in-between stage. And it worked. It absolutely works. And once you get on the other side of this, you do not crave sugar anymore. You probably don't believe me when I say that, but you will not. Once it is out of your system, you will not. In fact, you will look at it completely different. You'll look at sugar as the thing that gives you an instant headache. You won't want it in your system. And again, I'm not talking, I love fruit and I love vegetables. I'm talking about refined sugar. So that's just something to try. I think the key thing here is keeping these tools at your fingertips. So having that water with the oil, having the gum in your purse, the beadlets, all of those can help in that moment to break the craving loop. One of the things we linked up for you in your notes package, I believe, I think it's in there, but if not, I'll share the QR code at the end. We have a testimonials group of people who have used MetaPower throughout the last year. There's almost 14,000 people in there. And this was one testimonial I really liked that I wanted to show during this portion of class. So this person tracked her blood sugar over the course of 3 different weeks. And you can see the difference from week 1 to week 3. And I put on here her quote unquote testimony with this just to give further explanation. But by the October 14th week, she had no spikes happening anymore because of consistent use of MetaPower. And she said she expected to see some improvements, but did not expect to see such dramatic improvement, that the results would compound week over week. And this is what is really helpful, I think, to understand with this system. It's not a one-day life-changing event. It compounds, like so you use this as your kickstart. And I say you give it a month at least. But what starts to happen is you start to crave healthier habits. You want to move your body more. You actually feel tired at the right time and you get deeper sleep. You want to make different food choices than you were before because your body is not in that erratic state anymore. And so everything starts working together, and you can see some really phenomenal results if you give it the right amount of consistent use. So we'll link that group up for you at the end. I'll give you the QR code because I think it's really cool to read through testimonials in there. Everybody has a different story, but it's all under that metabolic health heading, right? Okay, the third and final obstacle we're looking to address with metabolic health is cellular integrity. So I mentioned these 2 things that greatly influence our integrity of our cells and ultimately our age factor, and that's collagen and NAD. Both decline beyond the age of 25. We're going to talk about collagen specifically right now. So collagen is the most abundant protein in our body. We have 28 types of it. It forms a key component of connective tissue. It's also, it gives our skin that firmness and that elasticity. And then we have NAD, which I mentioned 10 minutes ago. That's that vital molecule that supports our life. We're dead without it. And research has shown that supplementing with something called NMN helps to increase NAD levels in the body. So we're going to talk about the final product in the MetaPower system that has both of these things, collagen and NAD. And that is our MetaPower Advantage. A lot of you had said that you've used parts of this system before. I'm not sure how many of you have tried this product yet. I've been using this daily and consistently for 1.5 years, and I will not go without it. In fact, I'm heading out for 2 weeks of travel And I only have 10 of the sachets left. So I'm like texting my mom, like, hey, how much do you have? Because I wouldn't get my order in time. This has become an absolute daily staple for me. And I find the key thing is just picking a time where you're going to take it so you don't forget, because there's so much packed into this supplement, you guys. And I'm going to go through exactly what's in it in a moment. But what you need to know first is there's nothing like this on the marketplace. There are a lot of different collagens out there, but there's nothing like this one. So this form of collagen is 12 times more bioavailable. It has 9 unique collagen types. And it's activated by you, meaning it's not arriving to you in a liquid form. You activate it when you mix it with water, and you want to consume it within 10 to 20 minutes of mixing it, okay? So let's talk about each of those 3 pieces. So it's 12 times more bioavailable. What does that mean? The hydrolyzed tripeptides in this collagen have superior absorption. So most collagens that you'll find out there at the health food store or in other companies, they'll typically have about 20 grams of protein on the label, right? But those are collagen peptides. This is collagen tripeptides, okay? So the regular form of collagen that you see most commonly out there are very large protein molecules that the body has to first break down into tripeptides. And things get lost in translation when that happens. Your body is not able to use it efficiently because it's having to take it a step further to break it down. The tripeptide form causes it to be absorbed 12 times more. So this collagen is going to work fast, and it's going to go exactly where you want them to go. So specifically, I've seen huge benefit in skin and hair health. My hair has never been as long as it is now. You can even see it on the screen. My skin is what I've noticed. It just has this like firmness and this glow to it. It just went exactly where I hoped it would go because the body wasn't having to work overtime to break that down. This collagen also has 9 unique types. So most collagen on the market is going to have 1 or 2 collagen types. Ours has 9 that are all tripeptide form. So remember I mentioned earlier that there are 28 types of collagen in the body. So it's important to supplement with a wide range. That way you're covering off a lot more needs, right? And then being activated by you is also a big deal. So where you're going to pay a lot of money with a lot of other companies is actually in the weight of the product, in a lot of the liquid that it's bottled up and shipped in. So this product is pure, just super supplementation, and you're not paying for all this other stuff you don't need. You're getting very high quality ingredients that you activate when it arrives to you. And look at what's in each portion of the product. So when you get the box of collagen, there's a 30-day supply in it. You would do 1 a day. You've got hyaluronic acid. Some of you use that on your skin. There's a lot of skin potions and formulas out there that have hyaluronic acid. When you actually feed that internally, the body's creating that itself. So it's much better to go from the inside out than just to force the body to take something topically. Then we have NAD. We've got NMN, nicotinamide mononucleotide. That helps to create NAD in the body. Okay, so we're getting a double hit there. We've got red orange fruit extract, marine collagen. We've got our MetaPower blend in there. We have resveratrol, which also increases NAD in the body. We have sea buckthorn, rose apple fruit extract, phytoceramides, which helps with firmness, and liposomal vitamin C, and biotin. So any of you that have studied skin health, and maybe you're a product junkie like me and you love looking at ingredient labels, you'll notice that all of these ingredients, with the exception of the MetaPower blend, could be found in any of the top skincare products on the market today. So what you're doing is you're feeding your body inside out glow, right? This is our glow up product. This is the assist capsules are one of the rock stars of this kit because of how they help with the spiking. This is the other one because it really just goes to work in the way you want it to. So I like to make this every day with, I'll either add a couple of drops of lemon oil or tangerine oil, or I'll actually just squeeze like half a lemon in. And I love to drink it cold. I'll use a little hand mixer. And again, you want to consume it 10, 20 minutes is ideal. You'll notice there's little green specks in it as well, and those are chlorophyll. They help to stabilize the NAD that's in there, because NAD on its own is very unstable. Okay, so let me, just for the sake of time, I want to flip through. I've got some links on here. If you guys want to learn further info about the products, I've got the product info page up here. We've got an FAQ. You can type that link in there. The testimonials group is where I would definitely spend some time. So if you want to get out your phone and take a quick snapshot of that QR code, this can be so helpful. If you go in this group and you search by, maybe there's something that you're personally focused on right now in your health, you can focus on that word in this group and see testimonials that have come up. I'll leave it up just for one more moment. Pam asked if there's any benefit to using more than one a day of the collagen. There probably is, and I have played around with that, but not long enough to say, oh, I noticed this huge difference in taking 2 a day. I would suggest just focus on integrating the habit of taking it every day. That QR code did not work, someone said. Okay, we'll send it out with the recording email as well. Okay, so I want to shift gears. I want to just give you a peek into our 30-day program that we have coming up and how to purchase the MetaPWR system. So this is a kit that, and most of you were invited here by somebody on our team. They have a link they can give you to give you 25% off the pricing of this kit. That will also help you to be linked into our team to join our upcoming Meta 30 program, which starts mid-November. So you have lots of time. I would suggest you order this kit by November 3rd at the latest. And I'll just answer this question since I just thought Chris asked, the kit is not available in Canada, right? Correct. So there's a few of the products in this kit, such as, and really it's the MetaPWR collagen and the gum are not available in the Canadian warehouse. So because of that, you can't purchase the kit where everything's bundled at a reduced price. You can purchase a few of the products on their own out of the Canadian warehouse. But what I suggest you do, Canadians, you can purchase this from the US warehouse. You won't pay any taxes or customs or duties. You'll just pay the exchange rate. So even when I was living in Canada, for the 10 years that I have been ordering doTERRA, most of my orders I ordered from the US, just because then I could get access to all of the products. But you can see the QR code there. If you scan that, it'll bring up the purchase screen. You'll want to have the ID number or get a link from the person who invited you to class, because that will take 25% off the kit price. Now you're also going to receive with this kit a free diffuser and free shipping. So it's an awesome bundle. And like I said at the start of class, this is a kit for us, for those of us that might be really focused on how we can feel our best no matter what our age is. And it's going to serve you well. It will, like with our program as well, as we guide you through that. I'm going to show you a little peek at that in a moment. You'll feel very supported in integrating this and just taking your health to that next level. Yes, Kira, I will be running the program. So it's November 15th to December the 10th, if you want to mark those dates down. So here's the quick, simple steps getting started. You can message the person that invited you. They'll shoot you their link, and that will unlock 25% off pricing. You'll want to purchase your kit by November the 3rd, just so you have all your products in time for when we start our program, November the 15th. If you guys are on our team and you already have your kit of products, so you're ready to go to wholefit.com/meta30. You can see it on the screen there, and save your spot for the program. So we run it all in a private Facebook group, but you'll get your ebook, it's just better to go through that landing page rather than just requesting to join the group, because that way you'll get all of the resources, which I'm going to show you in a second here. There's a few add-ons you might want to consider depending on lifestyle. And I boiled it down to these three. So if you are struggling with sleep, this is another compounder when it comes to metabolic health. I would suggest looking at the sleep system. Now, the one product you see on the screen, that Serenity Stick with valerian, that is not launching until October the 1st. It's one of the newer products in the sleep line, but the Serenity line of products is beautiful if you're struggling with your sleep and you want to find a way to stack this in with, sorry, I just noticed there were a few people in the waiting room. There we go. If you wanted to stack in with the MetaPower system. And then protein powder, boosting your protein was one of the things I mentioned when it comes to mitigating spikes. So doTERRA has a great supplementation line for protein and greens and fiber. I love this protein, so I wanted to give it a quick mention. And then we have our lifelong vitality supplements, which is doTERRA's #1 product, actually, still to this day. It has been for a long time because they work. They just work really well. This is a 3-part multivitamin system. So for those of you that are looking for a really top-notch multivitamin system, this is your system. It has the Microplex, which is your food nutrients. It has Alpha CRS, which is like your antioxidant bundle. And then it has your Xe Omega, which is your fatty acids, your omegas. So this is going to absorb optimally because the supplements are designed through collation and they're in a protein matrix. So what that does is it allows the body to recognize them as a food source instead of excreting them like it typically would with a supplement. This is why you maybe have noticed when you've taken supplements in the past, the color of your urine might have changed, right? It's because your body's not recognizing it as a food source. So it doesn't know what to do with it. So it just sends it right off to the kidneys to get filtered out. You'll see higher energy, less pain, glowing skin, stronger nails. This is a staple for me personally. I've been using it for almost the whole time that I've been with doTERRA, so about 10 years. It's just, I mean, you absolutely notice a difference when you're not taking this. It keeps all your systems humming. And the way I've described this in partnership with the MetaPower line. So if you think of the lifelong vitality system, those are going to be your micronutrients. So this is your baseline, especially if you're not able to consume a very nutrient-dense diet. The MetaPower system helps with the food you're eating. So it helps with the macronutrients. It's helping to break down those carbohydrates different. It's helping with your cravings. It's helping you with just handling the food that you are consuming. Kira, yes, she asked about probiotics or prebiotics. So doTERRA has a fantastic reformulation coming out October 1st of their most popular probiotic. And it has not only a prebiotic there, it's all in one capsule. It's a prebiotic, a probiotic, and phages. So it's another very patent pending probiotic with some of the highest CFUs of the strains that you can find out there. So stay tuned for that. It's coming. Okay, quick mention with the supplementations. I wanted to make sure you guys knew this, especially those of you that are already customers. You save more when you're ordering monthly. So doTERRA, when you purchase your kit, you don't have to purchase monthly. It'll be an option that pops up for you at the end. It'll ask you if you'd like to start setting up a monthly order. When you do that, it unlocks reduced pricing on a lot of supplements. So this is how a lot of people on our team order. They'll order monthly. They'll get their lifelong vitality supplements. And now when you add MetaPower to your cart, it also unlocks savings on things like the lifelong vitality. So it's a really great monthly ordering system. There is a QR code I'll pop up here if you want to learn how to set up your first order. But the things that I love about it is you are in control. So you're not going to get products that you don't want. It's not like a surprise wellness box that shows up. You choose exactly what you want. You only have to order one item a month to stay active in it. So if you don't feel like you need too much, you could just order like a bottle of lemon or a lip balm, and that will keep your points balanced because you earn points off your orders that you can cash in for free product. There's lots of different perk levels to it. It's a great rewards program. So I wanted to just make sure I mentioned that, especially since we were talking about supplements, which might become more of a mainstay. Okay, so let's have a quick peek at our Meta 30 program, and then we'll wrap up and I'll do some giveaways. So this program, like I mentioned, will be running November the 13th or 15th, anyway, mid-November to mid-December. And this is a fully loaded program. And I know we have some people joining us that are on other doTERRA teams. Hello. We're so happy you could join us tonight. This is a program that is just for the whole fit community. But if you'd like to stick around to learn about it, we'd love to have you stay. So again, all you need to do to join this, you guys, is just to order your MetaPWR Kit. And then you can add yourself to save your spot on that landing page. And we'll start sending out some communication about it as we get closer to. But this is a really built up program. You're going to have nutrition guidance and recipes and workouts, a simple daily integration routine. And I love a good roadmap, and the way that I've divided this program up, we're going to do it in 2 phases. The first 2 weeks are a Meta Glow schedule. So here we're really looking at ramping up the body's detox pathways and releasing inflammation, perhaps some weight. And then the last 2 weeks is our MetaPower schedule, where now we're starting to dial up the fire. We're adding in some strength training. So we're building off of the release that's happened in the first 2 weeks. You're going to have daily posts in our group to guide you. You're going to have weekly check-ins. We have an awesome community that will be doing this with you. And we also, one of the cool pieces of this is we have an entire social sharing outline done. So if you're someone who wants to share doTERRA and learn how you can help other people, you want to hook people up with a link and you'll get compensated for it. We have a whole model it's a piece of our MetaPower program, but we also have this sharing studio where we have lots of great tips if that's something that you want to venture into. We have a portal for you, which will have all of your worksheets in one spot. So where you'll find your schedule and the recipes and just the outline of what we're doing each day. That's all going to be in one place for you. And basically what we follow each day is some simple rituals. So you're going to, by the end of the 30 days, your kit will be empty. We're going to teach you exactly how to integrate it. And the goal would be that you're seeing some really key changes in your health that give you that motivation to want to keep taking on more, because that's what's exciting with our health. I think that's one of the gifts of getting older is you start to look at things differently. There's things that you'll challenge yourself to do and you'll do them and you'll look back and you'll realize, wow, my life today is totally different than it was 3 or 5 years ago. But it might be things you thought you never could do. And as you take it on slowly and you make those changes in one little area at a time, it's amazing what you can accomplish. But it's extra amazing what you can accomplish when you do it as a group. So I find we always go further if we're doing something as a group. And that's what I really love about this community and the opportunity we have to do something like this program together. So you'll be super guided throughout the month. This is our 3rd time running this program this year. I'm not sure what the schedule will be like for 2024. I think I want to work in a few other programs this year for the team. So we might just do Meta 30 once in 2024. So we do hope you'll join us for this upcoming round. Like I said, there's the screen one more time for the MetaPWR Kit. And I think that's all I want to mention there. How about we do some giveaways? If you guys have any questions, if you want to pop them into the chat, I'm going to turn off screen sharing in just a moment here. But my question for you would be, I wonder what your story will be. There's so many people that have had a story with this line of products. You'll read about a lot of different stories in that testimonials group. It's just amazing how many different ways our metabolic system can shape our health and how we feel in our body. And so everyone experiences things very different. So if you have questions from class, pop them into the chat. I am going to do 3 giveaways, like I said, for a MetaPower sampler. And I'm going to include in there one of the new Super Mint toothpaste. So I'm going to ask you some trivia questions. So get ready to type. And I'll go through any remaining questions right at the end. Okay. So first question, and this is going to be basically first person to correctly answer is going to win. Okay. Are we ready? Oh, hi, Barbara. What a nice thing to say. Okay. First question. How many types of collagen are in the Advantage? First person to get it correct wins. Oh, wow, you guys are so fast. You like knew I was going to ask that. Okay, I'm looking for Shell. Am I saying your name right? Shell or Shelly? Are we on? Oh, we're on 2 screens tonight. Hello, there we go. Okay, I can't find you. Heads are moving quick here. I think it's Shell, but it could be Shelly. Chelle. You got it right first. 9 types of collagen. Okay, so email teamwholefit@g. I'm going to type it into the. So we have your shipping address. There we go. Awesome. A lot of you got it right. Okay, question number 2. Ready? What are the 2 main blood sugar regulating ingredients in the assist capsules? This is a little trickier. We need both. Oh, I almost uttered the words. You guys are a little slower on this one, and then ba-boom. Very good. Okay, we've got a Jody. I don't have a last name though. I need to, I'm not sure. Jody. Are you still here? There you are. Okay, hi, you won. Oh, hey, it's that Jody. Right on. Okay, again, shoot an email to teamwholefit@gmail. We'll get these mailed out. And Jody, since I'm going to be in Canada next week, I'll probably bring it with me and mail it there so it doesn't get to you in 3 weeks. All right, last question. What are the green specks in the Advantage drink? Oh, you guys are great. Looks like Tanner got that one first. Tanner. All right. teamwholefit@gmail. Awesome, you guys. Hey, Bex. How's it going, babe? I won't put you on the spot. I just wondered if we had any questions that didn't get answered. I don't know how far up. I will send this out as a recording Wednesday. Okay, so for all of you that had joined to the landing page, you'll be subscribed to get the email. Just scrolling up to see if there's anything.
I think you got them as you went through, Ange. I think the only one that might have been missed, does the gum give you energy, and does the flavor of the gum last?
Yes and yes. So energy, but not, you know what I just realized? I don't think my earbuds have been working this whole time because I could hear you through my computer. So energy, yes, not in a stimulated way, not like caffeine energy, but just it's very uplifting because the aromatics in the gum and in MetaPower in general are just super refreshing. So it's more like an uplifting energy. But yes, for staying power. So I am the most obnoxious gum chewer you've ever met, you guys. I'm going and I'll be at the gym and I'll be like chomping it, and I'll come home from the gym and I'm still chewing it for like an hour later. It is such a great tool to use in between meals when you might normally be snacking, because sometimes you just want that like chomp. Yeah, it's one of my favorites. Like I said, I've got a glass of it here. I've got one at the door for when guests come over. I've got my little like doTERRA bar. And then I keep a pack in my purse. So it comes in this little resealable package when you order it. Do you guys like my MetaPower nails? Oh, total nerd. Okay. Anything else? Did you all learn something tonight? Okay. Because I think like this is such a big topic, but it doesn't have to feel overwhelming. Right on. All right. Does the collagen break a fast? It actually doesn't. So I have tested that. So great question. It also depends on what you're fasting from, right? So if you're fasting, there are some people who will be super strict with fasting. They'll only do water during a fast. I think it's harder for women. Most women I know, including myself, hormonally, it can be very stressful on the body to fast for too long. So again, your sleep is part of your fasting window, right? So if you're going to bed at 10 o'clock and waking up at 6, you've already fasted there for at least 8 hours. But actually, the fasting clock starts when you stop eating. So if, let's say you stopped eating at 8 o'clock and you don't have breakfast until 8 a.m. the next morning, you've just fasted for 12 hours, which is a great window of time for your body to be able to do cleanup, to do that autophagy. If you play with that window a little bit, so what I personally do is I have fats in the morning. So I'll add, I use a product called Fat Fuel, but basically it's adding butter and MCT oil to coffee. How many of you have heard of Bulletproof? Been around a long time, right? Yeah. So like I said, I'm wearing a monitor right now. So I'm in a testing cycle. Every single time I've tested, that does not raise my blood sugar one bit. And then after I have that in the morning, usually around 11 a.m. every day, I have my collagen and I'll mix it. I'll make a nice little refreshing bevy. I call it my glow up drink. I'll add a little bit of lemon juice to it. That does not raise my blood sugar either. So then I'm into this like game a little bit. So then I'm like, okay, my eating window, I usually eat between 12 to 7. So I'm always looking at, okay, I want to keep that going. I don't want to see spikes. So that's when I'll break my fast with protein, and then I'll have carbs and fat with it after I've had protein. That usually helps me stay really stable. So there's a lot of things you can do. And I mean, obviously it's not realistic to go the whole day like flat, right? But the ideal is that you're not going way, way up and then way, way down. So anyway, long answer to a short question. Do you suggest we purchase the blood glucose monitor? Marley, I think it can be really informative because every body is different, right? There are a lot of different, so I use Levels, but I think it's only available in the US. There's another company you could look into called NutriSense. Rebecca, do you mind if I have you type in or talk about the one you used that was available to Canada?
Mm-hmm. It's called the Freestyle Libre. And I think, don't quote me on this, but I think if you go into the pharmacy, you might be able to get like a 2-week monitor to use for free. Because a lot of the diabetes representatives will leave them in places, hoping to encourage customers to use them. It's really easy to use and really effective.
Yeah, I haven't used that one or compared it. Manuela, it's a Dexcom. That's what Levels uses. But yeah, I guess you do need a prescription. I didn't need a prescription in the US, but maybe you do in Canada to order it. Is it true that the MetaPower works best when you do a detox before? I mean, it can certainly help. I actually think you could either do it before or after, because again, your fat cells are going to release stored toxins. And so you want to have some detoxifying rituals in place as that's happening. So lots of water intake, increasing your deep breathing, your sweating, dry skin brushing we mentioned tonight. All of those things are going to help open up your pathways to release if your fat cells start dumping toxins into the system, which they will do if you have if you've been storing body fat for years. It has likely been storing some toxins. Okay, great questions, you guys. I think we'll close out there just because we're running a little bit late, but I love how keen you guys are. This is such a great topic. I hope you'll join us for our upcoming program. For those of you that are already part of our community, All you need to do is order your kit, tell your friends, you can invite them into the program as well. It's very supportive. I think it's a really good time of year to do it too. I was going to run it in like for the month of October, but I just felt like there's so much that goes on in September that we're just kind of catching our breath in October a little bit. I mean, October is actually very busy for me too. I don't know about you guys. Just kind of, it's that Q4 energy, right? But I think this would be a really nice time of year before the holidays start to ramp up, and it'll be good timing. Nice to see familiar faces on here. I hope you guys enjoyed the content, and we'll see you in the group. Okay. Bye for now, guys.